what's in store just for you. No more living a lie. I can look to the sky and say, I'm reawakening mine. Come to know and find out what is truth, yes. Then you know what's in store just for you. No more living a lie. I can look to the sky and say, I'm reawakening mine.
Happy Holy Day, Moors. Thank you for tuning in to House of Reawakening Minds. This evening we have none other than Shem Malachi Bey and Brother Abdullah El Talib Mosley Bey. The topic tonight is Treaties Matters. Now we thank you for tuning in to House of Reawakening Minds, where we are a holistic center for spiritual grounding, free thought, self-discovery, and Moorish science, an awakening experience for all ages. If you will, we're going to go ahead and get started with tonight's event. Go ahead, turn your mic.
You can have both of them on? Yes, salam everyone. Assalamu alaikum. Veda makum. Miyam. Wow, this is great, man. We have a wonderful topic for you tonight. We were doing the Facebook Live last night and one early this thing. We're going to continue to expand on these principles. All right. There's been over the years some misunderstandings with this enforce the Constitution, and we want to provide some clarity on that. As Tamara said, topic treaty matters, and what does that mean? As we continue to provide clarity, and I was saying to Terrence earlier and Jakeem that this is an area that needs great clarity. And once this is well grounded among nationalized Moors, you'll begin to see that this movement will move forward in leaps and bounds. There's a misunderstanding of what treaties are and the power of treaties. It has not really been grounded in this Moorish movement, as it's been taught that Moors shouldn't enforce the Constitution. Enforce the United States Constitution, and invoking United States clauses and legislative acts for our protection. So we're going to provide some clarity for that. We also have our contract law course. The United Republic of Morocco has her contract law course scheduled for September 19th. So this is like a little preview to that, as we'll be grounded in contract principles. So we got limited seatings for the contract law course. All right, September 19th. All right, it's a 12-week course. So get your tickets soon. Get your tickets. All right, the contract law course. So we want to let's look at Shem. One of the points that were addressed is that Drew Ali's mentioned in his divine warning, to enforce the Constitution. And let's examine what does that mean. Let's look at that in the principles of well-established law. As I said earlier and last night, that there's too much parodying in this Moorish movement. Taj Shafiq Bey said, or Shem Malachi Bey said, often people said, Tamar Il said, Abdullah Bey said, Kametayu Bey said, and there's nothing wrong with that if you put it on the scales of Mayat. You put Abdullah Bey's statements, Taj Shafiq Bey, Shem Malachi Bey, Tamar Il, Terrence, Taj Shafiq Bey, Kametayu Bey. You put their statements, Hakeem Bey. Put our statements on the scales of Mayat, and then measure it against well-settled principles. So this is something that we're going to teach you methodology of thinking and study of jurisprudence. This is not Abdullah Bey's way. When you look at treaty cases, you'll see that this is what is done. So it's not Abdullah Bey's method. This is upon studying treaty cases, I analyze the methodology of the delivery, looking at well-settled principles. So enforce the Constitution, enforce the United States, Moorish should enforce the United States Constitution. Measure that statement and put that on one side of the scales of Mayat. On the scales of Mayat. And measure it against well-settled principles. We're going to teach you how to study. It is said that we should study. Moors don't know how to study. I teach that. I teach how to study. Grammar, vocabulary building, dictionary study skills, etymology, epistemology, ontology, axiology. We need to give them the principles of how to study. All right? So giving you the principles of studying jurisprudence. We're going to use the scales of Mayat. So you'll hear me say the scales of Mayat a lot, because that will be what we'll use to measure statements, any statements. I don't care who it is, you measure the statements against that. If it is the statement grounded in well-settled principles, use this methodology. As we use this methodology, we'll grow in leaps and bounds. And it'll be less of Tasha B. Bey said, Shem Malachi Bey said, Abdullah Bey said, Kametayu Bey said, Hakim Bey said, Singh Bey say. It will be less of that. As I said earlier to Brother Abdul Hakim, that we can't rise with that, with parroting. That is not sustainable. You can't raise a civilly dead people by teaching them how to parrot. You must give them well-grounded principles of analysis and study. Begin to use the skills of Mayat to measure in dealing with ancient words and grammatical structures and principles and ontology, epistemology. All right? All right, so Shem, we got the statement. Enforce the Constitution. Let's analyze that.
Okay. Professor Abdul, I definitely need you to type this title in under here, and that's the Air Corps Confederacy Indian. That's a resolution from the United States, concurrent resolution on October the 21st. Well, you can write this the Air Corps Confederacy, and we're going to refer to the resolution. Meaning you're not.
What do you want me to write?
I want you to just write this subtitle right here, just like it is.
Air Corps Confederacy.
Yes.
Indian nation.
Right, but even though we know that's not Indian nations, the United States put that word in there. They're not going to put more. It should have been more, a Moorish nations. Now, why United States? When the Congress used this word, they relieved them under the liability, because they say Moorish or Moroccan, then that means their people are superior. Remember, I told you that you're the creditor, we're the creditors, and they're the debtors. In order to reverse that role, you have to create a fiction plane, a fiction language, and a fiction corporation, and make the people act as if they're the character, which is a dummy. So make them act as if they're a dummy. So, wow. So United States would use this word connotatively. You never see me use the word Moorish. But now, when a United States language professor, whoever they may, call the people in the Air Corps Indians, then I would have to refer to the Constitution that they formed and see that they call themselves that. I don't care about what you call them. They didn't call themselves that, so they're not them people. So what you did is you put a label on them under race. But you can disfranchise them, disnaturalize them now through language. And the only way this can be changed if we assert to be the blood-loading DNA of these people here. There's nowhere in the Iroquois Constitution does it call them people Indian. And if the verbiage is not in the agreement, the Constitution, it doesn't exist. Where do it come from? Someone using it to disnaturalize the people so they can put them under their jurisdiction where they can make laws and take their land and steal their inheritance and then lock them up when they don't do what they say. That's called apartheid, terrorist, genocide. It's being done right before our face. I don't think it was ever a time in life where people have been genocide, freely receive and love genocide just for benefits. They're killing your ass and you love it because they're paying you. They're making you sick. They're giving you a treatment as if they're curing you, and then you turning around being happy, arguing to die. That's how indoctrinated you are. You arguing for someone to killing your ass. You're the Nazi war cap, worse than the Nazi war cap. At least I respect the so-called Dr. Zion Jews, because you know why? They open their mouth and say you did evil to us, and it's never going to happen again. On the other hand, you've been in the school system, indoctrinated, and now they don't rip the cord of common sense out of your ass. But you don't even know somebody killing you. You'll look up, you'll take a bottle of drink, a soft drink, or a capsule, or a pill bottle. I know some people don't like me. I got to tell the truth. I'm talking about my people now. Let me clean my people up. I don't give a shit about the Yahweh. Excuse me for saying that way. Deal with your house. Let me deal with my damn people. They got a damn vicious mental problem. Now you read the bottle, and it said cause 9 different side effects to your liver, kidneys, and everything that can kill your ass. And you still trust that man to give you that, and you don't even argue with him. Here you is arguing about somebody trying to give you your damn memory back and tell you who the hell you are. That's sad. You argue with somebody trying to help you out to get you land and eat clean food, breathe clean air, pass laws to straighten your communities out, make you get a board in your back and straighten up and be a man and woman. And know what? You are here going against that. Like you hate us. You hate people to tell you who the hell you are and your ancestors are. You worship the damn Barney out there in New York in the doghouse. Excuse me for saying it that way. At least Barney bark. A dog don't bark, it's a dumb dog. You can't even claim your life, claim a life. You can't claim a nationality, claim a life. Then when we come together doing something, we got these Moors out here talking about connotative stuff. It can't be proven. Then they get mad when somebody can go to something on the scales of Maya and prove that you can't even show your own balance out. You cannot validate that, verify that. Then we show you that you can't do it, you still argue. Damn, you brain damage. Let me get back to this, the contract. Then you could, I'm gonna get back to this. Now we got the Iroquois Constitution of the Iroquois Confederacy. I want everybody to see this. Y'all wake up, because these are Moors. You hear connotative language that somebody called them something that they don't even express themselves to be in the Constitution. What that mean? Anytime somebody call you something that your ancient foremothers and forefathers didn't even call themselves, and you come from them, you've been tricked. You've been trapped too, because that's not me. And everybody in the world get mad when the male and melon turn around. Our people turn around and claim who we are. Everybody mad, even our own people. This is you right here, Moors. These are not Indians. That's why I wanted T to get the 1836 Treaty of the Camp Home. Why? Because that treaty explained who the Moors called the Indians. They say an associated band. This is the Moors saying this. The Indian associated bands. The Indian, what you mean? Now let's go back to biblical law to break this down. In ancient law, our fathers will have a woman of blood pedigree. That's the birthright. They may travel to a foreign land and do commerce. From that foreign land, please hear me, I'm teaching biblical law here, jurisprudence. they would marry, bring back 6 women. They will have them as concubines. What are they? When their children are born from the concubines, they are not blood DNA alone entitled heir holders, because the survey comes to the woman. We know that we already proved that. They will become what you call associated bands. Abraham had them when he had concubines. What he did while he was living, he gave them gifts. Why would he give these women and the mothers give them gifts and send them away? Because they can't get the bloodload. The woman, the survey is not in her. It's in the woman right here, blood pedigree. So I'm showing you jurisprudence, what's going on here today. When you hear the word Indian, that's the Moors taking all these Albion, mulatto women all around the world as they concubines. Then they marry them, they go to them, they got associated. They associated now. They're attached. They're the bands. I'm telling you, nobody gonna tell you this. Then they said, we're gonna call them the Indians. Because they're not full-blooded, they're not really full-blooded Moor. I mean, they really don't have a pedigree with the Moors. So they call them Indians. But they're not, these are Moors, because that's why the Constitution say doesn't have the word Indian in it. Now, I'm talking about real Jew. This is a contract. Read that contract, Moors, and tell me, or anybody, if an Indian listen to me, a chief or okay, you're a president, read this contract and tell me when you find the word Indian in there. It's not in there. So they're not Indians. So let's go back to who are these people? Moors. The Campone Treaty. Read it. It says associate. When you say associated bands, that means somebody's attached, they're associated to you for some kind of way, they're associated. Listen to me. You let them abide to you, you feed them, you let them fish on the land, hunt the land, and you give them certain allodian rights on the land because they're all connected to the Father, to lineage. That's why they call them associated band. Read the treaty. Please read the Campone Treaty. You'll see what I'm talking about. It said the Comanches, the Wichita, all these are Moorish nations. That's why you read in a letter that said the Moorish states. That's what they're talking about. These civilized nations are Moorish nations. They're not going to tell you that. So that's our right, our job to make sure we keep the inheritance going down. We hand down the right information to know who these people are. Now, the Indians can't do that because you know why? The Associated Band signed treaties with the United States, become a ward. But you can't put that obligation on us. They became a debtor, not on the Moors. An Indian and the Moors in two different status based on what the Indian did. You see, they call the Lenape Indian. Lenape wasn't no Indians. But that's what they say the writer, the Esquire, wrote in the treaty. Now, when the heirs and the kinsmen, descendants come up to protect and defend that treaty, then they have to say, you can't, that word Indian that the Esquire wrote in there is de facto. Because them people was not Indians, and you had your etymology definitions come up and say, well, the word Indian go back. Now we go to the source of the word. And it can't fit them people because they wasn't on that side. They was over here. So these people was Moors. That's why you see Delaware got a lot of their writings. They call them Moors. In Jersey, they call these people Moors. The old science. They knew this. So they had to come up with a school system. But right now, what I want, I don't want no Moors. Because we're dealing with contract course law coming up. And be honestly, y'all need to take it. Out there trying to be headstrong, think you know something. You only injuring people. You got these brothers running around telling people to force the Constitution. They probably heard people say force the Constitution. They lied to you. You can't enforce the instrument that your forefathers or your mothers wasn't a part of. Meaning that, once again, here go the Constitution of the United States of North America. There's nowhere in here where it said we the Moors, we the Americans. Don't even say we the Indians. Then you go to the end of the contract. It does not have a Moorish, Dey, Bey, Ali, Caliph, Wazir, Sharif. No one endorsing that instrument. That's a Moor. That's not even an Indian. So how in the world you gonna come in and force a contract That's the alliance between 13 corporations that your ancestors gave amnesty and asylum to form that contract. How? Well, Article 6, you say, stop right there. Stop right there. Article 6 is the supremacy clause. It's not an amendment, Moors. It's a clause. And the clause is put in the contract to refer to something prior before that contract was formed to show you the authority that it got. So you force the clause in the treaty. You don't go to the contract like Minister Abdul say. When you read a Sanchez case, you read a Dred Scott case, they was asking for protection under the Constitution. What happened? They say it doesn't apply to you. And the Mexican is not with a Spanish-speaking Moor.
Let me say. Okay.
Go ahead.
You know what?
You on already? You hold it. Just hit tap it.
All right. But I turned it off. All right. All right. Now you had invoked. You made some good points there, Shem. That it is said that Article 6 of the United States Constitution, being the Supremacy Clause, all right? Are you saying that the treaties give the Constitution, of course, doesn't give any authority to the treaties, and that the Moors do not need to go into the United States Constitution in order to force any treaties?
That's right.
That's
Absolutely.
what you're saying.
Absolutely. Now let me explain. Remember a long time ago we was teaching a couple of Facebook lives. We was talking about self-executed treaty. You did a thing on that self-executed treaty. Come on, this way. No, it was.
No, I did, yes.
Now Abdul was doing some Facebook lives back here when Dunkin' Donuts opened and we used to be the Dunkin' Donuts, and he was breaking down when he read the case dealing with self-executed treaties and jurisprudence of the United States Supreme Court and the World Court dealing with treaties that's self-executed and treaties that have to go in place by act of Congress.
No, it sucks.
Now, let's say this. If a treaty stipulates by a sovereign to another sovereign that they, nationals, can go into their court and enforce their rights if they violate it based on the treaty, then that will mean that if you was a Moor and the treaty said that and didn't talk about a council, it didn't talk about a council, or the hat. All right, let me take it. Okay.
Thank you, brother.
Now, you got me laughing on camera. Now, if the treaty stipulate that means the ruling power of that nation agreed to go under the jurisdiction of the United States and give the authority that the sheik or the deputy or the sheik, the council will have. It will be incorporated and delegated to the foreign powers. In some treaties, that's what they made the band associates did, gave up their sovereignty for money to protect it. And they just nationalized themselves. That's the bands. Now, I'm going to straighten some out. What the Indian and bands have done is not obligated on the Moors. Once again, I want you to hear it. What the associated bands of Indians did is not binding on any Moor. A Moor is clear. Please, the 1778 treaty. Now, this before the United States formed their second corporation. They incorporated again. We talking about 1778. The United States is entered into a treaty. Please hear this. After they entered the treaty, the Lenape Moors. The same year they entered the treaty with the Days. Who are the Days? The same people that they entered the treaty with earlier. The Lenapes. It's just that there's different Moor states in the kingdom. Now that treaty made it clear that if a dispute or suit arises of all kinds that the day has exclusive jurisdiction and no one other. What y'all Moors doing, trying to force the Constitution when you're supposed to enforce the council the day. Now, if you got a day behind your name, be a damn day. Be a part of a government. A day's part of a government. He's the head of a government entering into treaties with his cabinet. And you got day behind your name and you don't even know what a day is. You got bay behind. I know what a bay is. He know what a bay is. We doing, let me say something. We are doing the titles of a day in bay in different capacities. So the Moors are being a problem and a stumbling block to themselves by saying, when you say this right here, when you tell somebody to go ahead and force this instrument right here, you might as well go and call yourself Dred Scott. We got a lot of Dred Scotts around here. I want you to hear this. We got a lot of Dred Scotts around here. I don't care who you are. Call yourself the head of a Moorish movement, you're a Dred Scott. You say force the United States Constitution. For now, call yourself Dred Scott. When you write on paper, say, I'm the descendant of Dred Scott. I'm his kinsman. Yes, I'm Dred Scott. I'm doing the same thing Dred Scott doing. I'm saying force the Constitution because I'm going to be a Negro. I'm saying out my mouth that I'm a Moor, but in my expression, action, I'm a Negro. I'm a Dred Scott. I'm keeping it real. Because this is what you're supposed to be enforcing right here. Shit, that's the Moors Constitution. Ain't nothing in this Constitution say Indian in here. These are Moors. These are civilized Moors operating in the Empire of Morocco that was acknowledged by the Sultans. Because you notice one thing, the Sultans never came over here and pressed them, gave them their free sovereignty. Now, the United States Constitution that you talk about enforcing acknowledge the same government body, acknowledge and recognize that their Constitution is a replica after the principles of this right here, this Moorish Constitution, right here. Do y'all hear me, Moors? I'm gonna straighten this out tonight so we can stop playing. Because after the day, you Dred Scott. If you say force the Constitution, you're Negro. You're saying out of your mouth that you're Moor, but your expression and actions show that you're a Negro and you Dred Scott. I'm sorry, got to tell you the truth. Stop doing it, because you're going to mess up other Moors that we're trying. Let me say what's going on right now. At a rampant pace, Professor Abdullah teaching etymology, epistemology, and linguistics of language, having the Moors come together and realize to create seals and flags, and create their own political jurisdiction in their land, not in the zone. Now, by creating their land, they're also going to be operating in the zones. So they become an ally. So what they're doing is that they want to now come together among ourselves and show peace and friendship among ourselves and sign a treaty. And here you is talking about the United States Constitution. I'm going to tell you what you do more talking that stuff. You go up to Congress and tell Congress that you want to become a state. Submit your Constitution. You know what they're going to do? You might get killed. Get your Constitution and submit. That's what they was doing back then with the United States, all these new corporate states. They would go and kill the Moors, take the Moors' territory, create a Constitution, and call it what? A territory. A land. It's not theirs. So they create a political zone to run a corporation called the state of Arkansas. And what would happen? They'll send their Constitution up to the parent, which is the United States, and Congress is considered the crown. They would go ahead and vote on it and say, you are now a state, a political organization operating political jurisdiction in that territory, the land of Moors. Why don't you go up there and do that and see what they tell you? Tell you are Moor. They're going to tell you we can't do that. It's a violation of the Constitution. We can't do that. But watch this. The Moorish Constitution right here tell you that any new states can be admitted. Any country can be admitted just by joining this confederacy. Why you won't do that? Why you don't join the Moorish Confederacy? Now, somebody say, oh, this is out of date. No, not. Shem Malachi is still alive. It's not out of date.
All right,
I'm alive.
Let's stop there. Let's stop there.
I'm alive. I'm living
I know. Let's stop there. All right. Once again, my yacht. Let me get my yacht. This is out of date. Put that on one side of my yacht. When I'm teaching them how to study.
That's right.
With any statement, because we got to start doing this.
That's
All right? This is out of date.
That's right.
No problem. On one side. Then you have to find the well-settled principle. All right? Provide evidence that this is out of date. What principles are you saying that this is out of date? Because I'm doing the skills of my yacht, because we have to learn how to reason. We just throw statements out. It's out of date. Based on what principle? What established principle is it out of date? What makes it out of date? Out of date, what does that mean? How is out of date determined? Who determined it? All right. So here we go.
That's right.
Here we go. This is out of date. All right, here's the Iroquois Constitution. So you have, this is out of date, your statement. Then you have the Iroquois Constitution. What article in the Iroquois Constitution, all right, that you can go to? How many articles are there that you can go to? 117. All right. Out of 117 articles, what article that you can point to, all right, where you can interpret that is out of date? This is not complicated, y'all. I mean, this is not. You have to go to the contract to say that it's to make a claim that is out of date. You got to go to the contract. Go to the contract. Article 33 states that in 110 years, this will be out of date. Like what clause or article, based on inactivity, based on some lack of performance, all right? So what article that has a lack of performance clause that would stipulate that this will be out of date if these articles were not exercised or enforced? Give me the article, but I'm just gonna teach them how to study though, because I hear that type of line of reasoning a lot. I hear it a lot.
That's right.
And it's only because we haven't been taught how to study. Someone who is grounded in the epistemology, or which is philosophy of how one knows, would never reason like that. This just saying something's out of date and it can't not. So we have to get back to Dauti, Christ. We have to stimulate the Christ, Dauti, the illumination, the Illuminati.
That's right.
We have to stimulate that.
That's right.
The Inquisition was one of the motives or practice of the Inquisition was to suppress the divine reasoning mind. As I said to Tasha Bay on the train down here, I said I was actually talking to the illustrious Joaquin Bey, and Taj was listening to the conversation. Talked to illustrious Joaquin Bey on the phone, and I said that I have to teach the Moors that there's two types of epistemology. The epistemology down with the natural functioning of the mind. The epistemology through our divinity. All right? The sunlight stimulates the serotonin and melatonin in the brain, activating the higher brain senses. Then you have the epistemology that's taught in the schools. Hypothesis, reasoning, formulating hypothesis, assumptions, research design, all right? But Our epistemology is based on the snake. The snake. The Kundalini energy, the activation and activating of those seven chakras and those senses. All right, and then you begin to tap into the Akashic records. All right, like a radio. Zzz, 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 that static. Oh, now there's been, right? So that's what that is. So that, tap into that. That's divinity. That's our epistemology. That epistemology is not taught in the schools. The epistemology that's taught in the schools is, forming a hypothesis, research design, that epistemology is taught in the schools. All right. Though we taught that too, all right, but that is a second level of epistemology. The highest level of epistemology is through divinity. All right, so I have to teach two types of epistemology, which both came from us. All right, but the highest is divinity. All right, the seeing, the all-seeing eye, the eagle, both are ours. The all-seeing eye, the eagle, the divine providence. All right, prophet. All right, fairy and prophet. The word fairy and prophet. All right, so both have the same meaning. All right, a fairy is a seer, a prophet, P-R-O, fourth, P-H-E-T, the root word, all right, speak or say, all right, a seer. But the seership is through divinity, all right? You have those who are a higher level seeing than others. There's those who are further along than the path than others. All right, but we all have that divine ability to see. Now, women have the greatest divinity. Now, what they did was instill fear in us. One of the most sacred images that represents fertility, power, and woman is the goat, bull, or ram. The horns used representing the crescent state moon. Now, the goat was distorted and made gory and misrepresented as the devil. This is worldwide, y'all. A most sacred symbol. So our epistemology is our divinity. We have to get back, activate the elephant. Elephant represents the cellular memory. So you have the Ganesh. Ganesh, the elephant, and what they call India today is worship. They worship something that's made in a factory. You're worshiping something that man made in a factory. You have the festival of Diwali. Hear me out, my brothers and sisters in Sindhu. You have this annual festival of Diwali. And you put Ganesh as the model. Ganesh, elephant made in the factory, you bow down to. You make the elephant in a factory. You bow down, give honor to that which you made in a factory. Hear me out. We're smoked in the head. This is worldwide. Smoked in the head. Ganesh is you. It's the cellular memory. You're Ganesh. So what they did was the Inquisitionists tricked us in looking outside ourselves for our power as opposed to looking within. When somebody can do that to you, they can control you for generations. For generations. All right? I yield right now.
Love that. And to back that up, which you can understand. Yes. To back that up, what he was saying, there was a saying by a great prophet say, great is he that is in you than he that is in the world. There you go. That's jurisprudence. This man that spoke, went back and spoke positive law. This was already said way before we was born, before the United States was fashioned, before the crowns came over here and be given the Moors, gave us up. The Moors, seers, already made it clear that they warn us that great is he that is in you. Who's that he? The divinity he talking about. Than he that's in the world. I mean, natural things is under your control because there's a certain, the divinity gives you a certain level of intelligence to rule over anything on this planet, whether it's in the water. Now we get back to this. Abdul was saying, your mind has been taken from you. That's what he mean. They took your damn mind. You hear somebody say he lost it or she lost her damn mind? That's what he mean.
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
Because you know why you lost it? Because there's the reality that you're trying to hold that doesn't even exist. What's that reality? Well, the Constitution, because Noble Drew always said. No, let's stop. Now we're going to deal with this right, because I know what a lot of people like to say.
They say, though. They do.
You have to say something that nobody can verify or say is valid. So like Professor Abdul said, we're going to say it's valid. If Moba Drew Ali made a general statement and did not define it, you cannot add to that. You cannot add to that statement unless you know your jurors, you know what you're talking about. Then when you ask why Noble Drew Ali made that statement, did Noble Drew Ali make it because it was founded on well-settled law? Did Noble Drew Ali made it because the treaty said it? Did Noble Drew Ali made it because the people that was before the Constitution was formed signed the instrument and is a party to the Constitution? Or did Noble Drew Ali said it because in the Constitution it said that Moors had rights in there? Did he say it because the Moors endorse it?
No, Shem.
So
see, that's a good point, Shem. See, when Drew Ali said, they say Drew Ali enforced the Constitution. There's nothing in his writings that would lead someone to interpret he meant treaty. Drew Ali never mentioned treaty. Like, how does one draw the conclusion that Drew Ali meant treaty? Just look at Drew Ali's writings. Give me all of Drew Ali's writings. All right. Point to what parts of Drew Ali's writings that you can interpret or draw a conclusion that he meant treaty. But I'm just teaching y'all how to study, y'all. You say study, I'm teaching you how to study. If someone says to you, I don't care who they are, hear me out, that Drew Ali meant treaty, but because you don't know how to think and reason, you're just going to accept that person saying that. So you ask them to show you in how did they draw the conclusions. What logical step? Logic means order. So what points of reference of Drew Ali's writings can they show you? All right, these are 10 points of Drew Ali's writings that I drew the conclusion that Drew Ali meant treaty. And then, all right, so you take, so now they're giving you their line of reasoning. They're giving you how they drew their conclusion. All right, so you can now analyze how they drew their conclusion. Go exhibit 1, exhibit A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. I don't see how you were able to draw the conclusion that Drew Ali meant treaty. You said that these are the exhibits that you use to draw the conclusion that Jualiman treaty. How did you draw that conclusion? It doesn't mention in that treaty at all. There's nothing in expressed or implied either. How? That's how you do it. But we don't know how to do that. I think, Shem, as I said earlier, we got to teach them how to study.
Yeah.
I think it's more that. And this is a 27 years of observation. It's not 3 months, 6 months. This is 27 years of observation dealing with thousands of nationalized Moors. I see a pattern, and this is a weakness among nationalized Moors. They have to study, learn how to reason. All right? I yield on that.
Man, that's true.
I love y'all.
Man.
I'm going to bring it.
Hey,
I'm going to bring it.
now let me go back and recap some things. So I know people watching, probably watching is United Kingdom, Australia, Canada, and throughout the different parts of Moroccan Empire, and also different parts of the Crown Rims and political dominion. No one here, for not one reason, do not honor the work that Noble Drew Ali did. That's why we say he's a forerunner. But at the same time, I look at it like this. I'm going to stop the Moors. Because when you say Noble Drew Ali say something, and it's not on sound principles of jurisprudence and well-established law, you are assassinating his character. Please, I'm going to defend him now. Prove he didn't say it. Now I'm going to say prove it, because now I'm going to highly esteem. I say he didn't. I say he know law. And I say he would never make a statement like that on the level of law and divinity that he was on. I say he would never make a statement like that. To make a statement like that, and he knew about the Dred Scott decision that a Moor in the Constitution does not have any rights on the same status, because they have a higher status than the citizens of the state. They are creditors. They're titled nobility. They don't go to a government, a de facto government, and ask them to do something for them. They remind them of their authority they had before they formed that instrument. So I know Drew Ali, I'm defending Drew Ali, and I say he didn't say it because he knew about law and well-established jurisprudence. Now you make me prove to me he said it. Prove to me Drew Ali said it. I'm defending him now. He didn't say nothing. Damn tricksters that Moors look like Gus said did that. After he died, they made up all this fictitious stuff. You know why? Because that's all they knew how to do is go in the damn courtroom and try to force their rights. They wasn't set up right. They not a force. They not a Moorish government. So not knowing the science, not knowing what to do, they had to find a cloak to cover themselves. So the people would follow them. Oh, Noble Drew Ali told me to put a cloak on. Noble Drew Ali gave me this coat. Take that damn coat off of you today. You ain't gonna wear it today because you can't prove it. And man, I'm a highly esteemed him. I'm not gonna let you assassinate his character and say this man asked you to go. So you know what that's saying? You know what you just told? Let me tell you something. When you say that man say that right there, you know what you just did?
I know.
This man teaching nationality, telling you to come out from among them, claim your birthright, your nationality. Once you do that, you got to go ahead and get it back. Moorish Constitution and Treaty. So you tell him he's going to turn you right back to the Constitution of a leasing colony territory, tell you to go to them and enforce their instrument. You know what he's telling you? Go enforce an instrument that your damn father's not even assigned it to or party to. Now I'm going to tell you what that's just like doing. I'm forcing a real estate contract for $1 billion. Before the contract was formed, I'm writing in there a clause. See, y'all know about contract law. Sister here don't talk about insurance. When you see a special clause in a contract, that means there was something existing already that the board of trustees or the state or the stockholders or stakeholders are liable to. So when these people come up to enforce their interests in the relationship, commercial relationship we have, they don't go to the agreement. They just only point to the clause in that agreement to enforce the agreement for that. They don't need nothing in that agreement. They're not even assigning to it. They said we assign it to the authority in this agreement that's enforced under your contract. So we'll go ahead and enforce our rights and our interests in this agreement. You only got the clause in there so your people in your corporation would know that this is the damn authority and power. So you can't tell me that man, please listen to me. This man grew up in one of these countries of this confederacy. And you telling me after growing up and knowing this, he will point and say, force that. No, he didn't say that. And so y'all Moors know what's going on. These people right here, the Albions, even though they're using that Indian nation, because the Albions good for using that because they won't use more. Once they use the word Moorish nations, they crumble. So they got to use these name, this name here, because these people subjected to them. They gave it up. They could worship. They became a refugee. Now, I just read a treaty to show you in the treaty, the Lenape Treaty, and I could show another treaty that they are responsible. So when somebody says, "Oh man, we fighting in wars,"
Can you pull that one up?
which one you want to pull up?
Lenape Treaty. Lenape.
Hey, pull up real fast. I ain't got up here. Pull up real fast.
Yeah, Terrence pulled up. Yeah, pull up,
Yeah,
Terrence.
pull up.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, continue, Shem.
Now, when you see the Navy, the Marines, the Army, and the Air Force, they have a job when they sign that treaty to protect the damn water and land. They ain't doing you no favor. That was given that day. They agreed to that. That's why they took the Lenape and walked the Moors and walked them out of the land and killed them. Talking about the Holocaust. All these people walk all the way out from Florida up here, all the way to the Midwest on feet with babies and children. Mothers pregnant, dying. Walked the Moors out. Took the Moors' damn land and violated that treaty. Then ran to a band associate. Are you part of the Moors? Sign this treaty right here. Come to Indian Bureau of Affairs. Or we trust you for the Lenape Moors. No, you're not. Because the Lenape Moors are not Indians. That's a band associate. So the only way for that to be correct is the Moors got to correct it. That's why you ain't got no time to talk about going to the Constitution of the United States.
All right.
What article we read that, Terrence? That was in Article 2 or Article 3?
It's not touched on.
Oh, it's not touched on? Right here, I think right here.
It's touchscreen?
yeah,
Oh,
okay.
yes, it is.
What article that was in TV? Looked at right here, article I believe the war, article of war. When we just said, let me see. No, right here, I think necessary war, either party.
Perpetual
engaged in
peace
war
and
with
friendship.
and other nations,
I don't know.
that then each of the assist others in the do duty purported of their liabilities till the enemy or yes, this paragraph, that's it right there. Article 2. You can read Nobles.
All right. Article 2, treaty with the Delaware, was the Lenape Moors,
That's right.
1778. Articles of agreement and confederation made and entered into by Andrew and Thomas Lewis, Esquires,
See that?
commissioners for and in behalf of the United States of North America, of the one part, and Captain White Eyes, Captain John Kill Buck Jr., and Captain Pipe, deputies and chief men of the Delaware nation of the other part. Article 2, right?
Yep.
That a perpetual peace and friendship. Is it? What did I say? All right, yes, all right. I thought I mispronounced it. That's why. Oh, thank you. Thank you. All right, that she made a point. All right, good point. Good point. Yes, I see where you're going. That a perpetual, that's good reading. That a perpetual peace and friendship shall from henceforth take place and subsist between the contracting parties aforesaid through all succeeding generations,
Yep, binding.
And if either of the parties are engaged in a just and necessary war with any other nation or nation, that then each shall assist the other in due proportion to their abilities, till their enemies are brought to reasonable terms of accommodation.
Stop right there for a minute. Now let me go into this.
Yeah.
The moment the Congress walked out, now we get somewhere now. The moment the Congress walked out, the Republican states walked out Congress. What they did was they broke the alliance. By breaking that alliance, they broke the treaty with France, treaty with the Nappies, and the treaty with the Crown.
Yes, because Article 1 of the definitive treaty between Great Britain and United States, right? It has United States viz, V-I-Z, which means namely, and it lists the 13 colonies.
Absolutely.
It doesn't say it, that 13. It says viz.
Yep.
Now, why does it say viz? It means namely. They name each 13.
Yes, sir. That's right.
So when I looked at that, I said, damn, she was right.
They broke the treaties. This is why Lincoln. See, nobody really knows what the war was about. They're going to lie to you about what this war was about. In order to find out what this war was about, is only bringing about old scar tissue. What happened in 1776, what happened to 1814 when the Great Britain and the Moors, Indians, they call them Indian Moors, went and burned down their captive buildings and made them sign the Gantt Treaty, which stated that the Aboriginal Moors estate is platinum, is guaranteed, can't be sold. Then here go we back to, remember now, in between they signed a Hallelujah Treaty with the United Mexican States, that's the Moor states. The Pope slips in there, give them a little authority. Now they back. Lincoln gets in there, a Negro. They walks out on him. They didn't walk out because he's a Negro president. They walked out because they feel as though that they're no longer going to be under what? The obligations as a debtor to the Crown and the indigenous people. And how it hurt the Moors is the moment they hit the southern states attacked the District of Columbia ships. You got an open war on the sea, and you got an open war on the land. And you're fighting on the Moors' estates, which forced the Moors to go and join the military to bring the war. Once again, they fought with British. Remember, they fought on the side of the United States because it's involved with treaty. And now the Moors, the Moors went in and became Negroes. Meaning that the Moors that was free on their state was holding their states, stateholders, they were still kings. There was days and days. When all the ships, they don't talk about this, all these ships came over with people from Persia, Italians, Greece, Ireland, Switzerland, Dutch, Sweden, Scotland, France, of Great Britain. They flood the Moorish land with millions and millions of funky people, not just Albions, melanated people too. They're coming here to fight against the South states to bring them back under they talk about the United States, no, under the crowns. Because remember, all this Germany, Hungary, of Apostolic Hungary, Italians, these people under one treaty agreed to split the spoil. So when you see Great Britain, France, and Spain, These people are in treaty with each other under one alliance. That y'all three can go out there and act, but the princes and the majesties of these foreign governments always get some of the what? Jurisdiction, have jurisdiction and spoil. They hide that. That's a law. That's a secrecy law. You're supposed to know about that. But you found it when you read the treaty. Why is all these treaties incorporated into one? You know why? Because all of them got an interest in what all of them ever do. They all got an interest. So that's fighting on the Moors' land. They took the Moors as states. United States became de facto. Once the United States Congress came back and created another corporation and used the articles of a corporation charter as their body of authority. Remember, they only could create that. They used the same name, but they just created another charter. But they used the first charter to derive their authority. Now, when that happened, that organization became de facto. Now, it was upon the United States, even in that de facto status, to make sure to protect the treaty rights of the Lenape, because they became the common enemy. See, once the people that's supposed to fight on your side turn around, you turn around, they stick a knife in your back, you hit. That's what they did to the Lenapes. They created a de facto government and they came back and started taking the land viciously. Then France, Spain, and Great Britain stepped in and said, you can't do that. We got treaties with these people. You just nationalizing these people by calling them Negroes and stuff. And they stood by and let it be an in-house thing. I mean, let them fight their stuff and straighten it out. United States came up with a plan. If they figure it out, if we use the word Moor, Moroccan, we can't get nothing. So they had to go to a lower word, even lower than Indian, lower than Negro. Then they had to come up with a word called colored. Sealed. It's sealed. You can't be seen. You're not seen. Then they came up with something. They said, okay, now we need somebody else to come up with something. We need to pay flunky. Somebody look like them that they're going to look up to because he got melon like them. So they put one of the other play flunkies out and use the word black now. I know, so I'm telling the truth. I don't care about y'all feelings like that. Slap your damn self and wake up. You pay flunky. I call you a pay flunky. He dead. The pay flunky's dead now. And transition gonna pay for what they did. Then they had other pay flunkies that they created in their laboratory, which is called college. And they didn't educate them, they indoctrinated them and gave them a gift. Now they come out and damn, you got another status now, Afro-American.
Jesse Jackson.
And but Jesse Jackson couldn't take it to the level King took it. When King realized what he did, because he made a statement, what kind of man would I be if I go alone? This man made this openly in the talk show. They told him, you're talking too much. And you're around the Kennedys. You're a man of disintelligence. We feeding you Caucasian women, Albion women. You're prostituting, tricking out of your mind. I'm telling the truth. Now, we can't control you with dead women no more. They skirt tail. We can't tell you to shut your mouth. We'll get rid of you. And he gave him a sign. And that's when he made that last speech. That's why he said, I turn here tonight to plead with you. He said, I turn here tonight and plead. Matter of fact, he died not too long after that speech. They got rid of him. Something like that. So what I'm saying is that if I go back to jurisprudence, ancient jurisprudence, and say, who is the person that can put the Moors in this kind of condition and leave their descendants and offsprings to not get an heir? I found him, a funky ass, dirty Moorish nation like them. Because those cities all over the world, our ancestors, selling their people, bringing in foreigners, and giving them territory. Before the Sultans even conquered, took over the power from the Roman Empire, before the siege of Jerusalem and the Moab stronghold, then the taking over of Egypt by the Greece kingdom. The Moors was their own downfall. They just always had the knowledge, the direction on the high seas to control and capture nations, fleets and ships and cargo and merchandise, and cripple a nation. Because the Moors was the mirror of the sea. And they could stop routes to go to the sea, and nations was what? Cut off. If a nation didn't grow or have a phantom, if stuff is on a ship that that nation need, and that ship is cut off, that nation survived. See, Moors are very smart. They'll seize your water by building a dam, because you know your crops need what? And you know your animal needs water. Yeah. So the Moors would do was go ahead and seize the water, because they know if water didn't go to the land, the crops they couldn't eat. Yeah, then if the animals starve and do that and die, that's diseases. And that's spread throughout the land. So that's an act of strategy. Let me explain what's going on here. Same as during warfare. We don't have to seize your water. They already did it right in front of your face. And you think, okay, ain't nothing wrong with that. You pay for your own damn necessity. Water you need to wash and drink. And they're making you pay for it. And making you believe, indoctrinating you to believe that you're not nobody at war with your ass. Who's making you pay for your water? A de facto corporation, a state of origin. And you don't see nothing wrong with somebody that took over your water supply that you need. And you're going to run around here, your dirty ass Moor, and tell somebody to force their constitution. Come on now, stop playing. Let's get real. Let me say something. I'm not going to stop moving. Neither the sister, neither the brother, neither the caucus we built. Y'all people out there that build government and listen to the minister, Professor Abdul, and we tell you how to do it. Keep your seal, keep your flag. I got your constitution coming. Let these Moors play around all they want out there. We're going to just go ahead and sign a treaty. We know where to go at. And deposit it. We're not going to a state government deposit. We're going to where everybody is recognized themselves as a country. Because we're going to be recognized as a country based on that treaty. And we're going to deposit it. And we're going to wait for everything. And y'all can keep going around doing what you got. I can tell y'all not to run government because you don't have a body. You don't have elections. Even a spiritual religious organization have a set up structure. Even the Catholic Church got a set up structure. Of
course it does.
Come on now. Where do you think they got the bishops and archbishops? Where'd that come from? Moors nations. They ain't just invented that. They going back to jurisprudence. You looking at the Pope laughing. Hey, you're talking against your own ancestors. And I got your ancestors all over my hat. True. All over my thing. Look at it, all over here. Y'all talking about the woman. You're talking about the Christ, the caress. I got it right here. I got the carbon. I got the rods, the 7 rods that came through the celestial rim to the, listen to me, to the cosmic womb. That's why the woman is a replica of the earth and this. See, when you call a rim, the cosmos, that's a womb. That's feminine. That's feminine. The Lord represent master, mean masculine. There's a relationship going in, not natural. But when something has to be brought forth, it comes from the cosmic womb. That's a relationship. That's a form of community, a form of relationship, a form of intercourse. Not sexual. It's in another level, another rim. They don't understand that. Now I'm gonna get back to this. Moors, if the United States recognize this right here, like Professor Abdul says, Shem, he learned me how to deliver my method to get across to the people. You have to make sure you reach them because you're dealing with people on different levels. Professor Abdul says some still conscious, some just coming out, some eyes just open up, some of them conscious, some of them conscious to this level. So you're dealing on a different, you're dealing with a mass, a real bad situation here. I have to show you and go back. I just can't say like Minister Abdul say, oh, Shem said it. No, Shem said Shem going back to Shem looking back. They go forward. Shem looking back to build now and they go to the futures. That's why the stock market, they call it futures. What you mean? The people are trading and investing on things that's of value that the people use for thousands and thousands and thousands of years as value. So they look at it as value now and invest in it so they can have wealth in the future. United States, did a resolution. Look it up. Look at Moors. Concurrent resolution 21 October 1988, 102 stat 4933. Let me get it up. Here we go, Abdul. You could open this up for them so they can know what that means. Here's the United States acknowledging the Moorish Constitution. So force this Constitution, Moors. Talk about that one. After the day, talk about that Constitution. Oh, they was Indians. They said in the concurrent, they say Indian nation. No, that's connotatively. They put that there when they made, that's their in-house legislation. But look what they're acknowledging. Now, they're not Indians because this agreement right here, this contract, social trust, does not use the word Indian. That's Sister Tamara, she read it. You see the word Indian in Tamara? Did they call themselves Indian? So the Indian is not in that language. Epistemology speaking, writing, then you can't say these people is Indians. Now, who is the Indians? I can go to a 1836 treaty where the Moors called them their associated band, Indians. See what we see. This is y'all have to learn, so nobody won't trick y'all. Please learn this. That you point them to this when they start talking that stuff. Learn this, so y'all won't be tricked. Because we build a nation. I'm getting a constitution ready for her spirituals. Because you know, Moorish nations wasn't just people that robbed with a constitution. Their constitution was their spirituality, their codes and stuff they developed under their priests. Or what they call it?
It's embodied in
their priests or their prophetess.
That's true.
Would guide them through the spirit. So they will create a public social trust to deal with the people. Now, you don't need a whole lot of people to start up doing the government. What you need the people first to be here. First self-recognition. Lord Bella, right here. That. If you ain't got this, you can't do nothing. The moment somebody strip you of this and know how it's done, through language. I'm persuaded it's through language and communication and listening. Takes your mind.
Still language.
And what's the problem is, Minister Abdul said the highest form, and he's right. And that's proven. It's been time that the seers will leave and travel to the cosmos and come back with an alphabet that's not even their regular language. So language and divinity, so what he would do, because he got the diuti, he would have to get him a scribe or a scholar to write and tell the scholar how to create an alphabet for the people to know what's going on with the revelation he received, only for that revelation. And somebody said, well, wait, where did this come from? This go back ancient. What are you talking about? It comes from the cosmos. It was taught to the man to teach to the earth based on what statements and knowledge he got. See, he right. And that's why when he say 2 levels, I said, oh man, it's the spirit kicking in. That's the invoke kicking in now. It moved him to say that because he realized what you're dealing with. Now, this is the current, read it, Minister Abdul. Let's see what the United States say.
We already have the title caption up there. All right. Well, I'm just read the title caption.
That's the same document.
Yes.
Okay.
Concurrent resolution, October 21st, 1988, 102 statute, fit 4933.
Excuse me for saying one thing. To all the Moors that's in Canada, Australia, and United Kingdom, listen to me. You get a copy of the 1856 treaty. I want you to hear this.
The general treaty between Morocco and Great Britain, 1856.
And you do what you call your government structure as a municipal government. You get it together with your seal flag and you come together and you ratify and you'll come together and do a population. And you go and I'll tell you what to do from there. Me, Abdul, will tell you exactly what to do. Because a Moor in Australia, that's his land. A Moor in Canada, that's his land. A Moor in the United Kingdom, that's his land. The only thing a Moor got to do is recognize who he is or she is and recognize and tell somebody who it is and stop letting somebody tell you who you are. Hey, Dick Tracy, snotty nose nut, piss in the pants, Charlie, what you gonna be next week? Harry Dickhead.
Good point.
Come on now. Damn, you ain't get tired of calling all these names?
Good point. Good point.
Roscoe, dumbass.
Good point.
What's next?
Good point.
That's what they do when they give you all these. Listen.
Good point.
Professor Abdul talked about nationality. He talked about race. Tamara, Noble Terrence, brothers and sisters here. He specifically went deep into what is race. Ask yourself, I don't care if you's a Moor or you not claiming to be a Moor, or you say a Moor ain't never did shit, a Moor can't get nothing. Ask yourself, I'm gonna tell you why a Moor can't get nothing. Because of your ass. Because you want to stay on the side of racism. You know what that is? You're a Jack in the Box character written in the play. And you want to be erased, and you want to claim nationality. That's why we can't get nowhere. Get your ass off the side of being racist and get over and say you got a nationality. Because everything in the world goes back to a nationality. Go ahead, you read that. All right.
Current resolution, October 21st, 1988, 102 statute, 4933, Iroquois Confederation and Indian nations recognizing contributions to the United States. Whereas the original framers of the Constitution, including most notably George Washington and Benjamin Franklin, are known to have greatly admired the concepts of the 6 nations of the Iroquois Confederation, Confederacy, whereas the Confederation of the original 13 colonies into one republic was influenced by the political system developed by the Iroquois Confederacy, as were many of the democratic principles which were incorporated into the Constitution itself. And whereas since the formation of the United States, the Congress has recognized the sovereign status. I went too far, right?
Yeah, you went too far down.
Yeah, I'm trying to. All right, this is it. Whereas the Confederation into one republic was influenced by the political system developed by the Iroquois Confederacy, as were many of the democratic principles which were incorporated into the Constitution itself. And whereas since the formation of the United States, the Congress has recognized the sovereign status of Indian tribes and has, through the exercise of powers reserved to the federal government in the Commerce Clause of the Constitution, Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3, dealt with Indian tribes on a government-to-government basis, and has, through the Treaty Clause, Article 2, Section 2, Clause 2, entered into 370 treaties with the Indian tribal nations.
Now you notice it say Indian tribal nations. They say Moorish nations. That's not, these people are not the Iroquois Confederacy. These are associated band of them, of the Moors. They enter in treaties with associated bands of the Moors. Go ahead, Nobles.
Whereas from the first treaty entered into with an Indian nation, the treaty with the Delaware Indians on September 17, 1778, the Congress has assumed a trust responsibility.
Stop right there.
An obligation to
they
Indian
took.
tribes.
You know what they say? They take. They take.
Assume.
That's
Congress
right.
has
That's
assumed
right.
the
They
trust.
have taken. What they did was they took on authority upon themselves that was not delegated in the treaty. You see, once this, you see this language in here,
Right.
you have to be a juror to know what you're reading, because they're speaking connotatively. Now, I would never knew this if I was just a person that's still into regular law, but being that I've been studying under Professor Abdul, you can catch the turn. You catch the turn in the statement, the words. Indian, and people never call this stuff Indian. So what they're doing is they're evoking a status on a people that's not that. But at least they're acknowledging that these principles come, whatever they're doing, that means this Congress is looking back, giving honor to someone they highly esteem, and that's the Moors. And you talk about forcing this Constitution, and you ain't gonna force your Moors Constitution. You don't know about it. So if you're gonna say, remember, treaties are either self-executed or they got to be entered by act of Congress. That means When you read a treaty, first listen at the word of the treaty. You hear the word Indian, you're not talking about a Moor. Talking about somebody associated more through blood pedigree, through intercourse, concubines. Because the Moors did that a lot. When they took the ships, they'll take the Albion women or mixed mulatto women, and they'll take the men and put the men in servitude. Albion was in servitude, yes, all throughout Africa and Asia and over here.
Yep.
Then they'll take the women, the Moors, and go into them as their wife, like the concubines. And they became associated bands. So you got to go back and look at this, man, to find out what's going on. How much time we have time? I'm leave for open for questions. I don't want to just go deep into it. How much time we got with questions? If somebody have any questions. Yes, I want to get, an hour. Okay, we keep going then. Let's go.
Any questions so far?
Any questions? Let's stop and see if anybody got anything to say.
Stop.
Our nobles out there,
Yep, yes,
the princes out there have any questions
now.
they can answer.
Yeah, because we've given quite a few. I mean, we've gone for an hour and a half, and we wanted to give time for questions here.
Yep, let's get some time for questions.
What
Questions.
What about y'all over here? Questions?
Any questions? Answer them. Just answer.
You have to give them the mic just a moment.
Yes.
Well, just say you have just state the question. Just ask the question.
Well, it technically already been answered when you guys were stipulating.
Ask the question.
Ask the question so we know.
All right, it was it had pertained to the Indian thing and the Moors. I mean, the Moors being called Indians. Yeah. But when you was going over about how they put that onto us, you basically already answered it. So
okay, thank you. You have a question, Prince? The princess had a question there.
As far as the critical thinking of where Abdullah was saying, as far as Noble Drawley and his his documentation of saying where it was found to go more towards the treaties versus not going to the United States Constitution. Where do you conclude that actual explanation of the Constitution of the Iroquois versus not going towards that from Noble Drawley's documentation?
Well, Noble Drawley was raised in Indian country on a Cherokee Moors, which is called reservation or the territory. Because Noble Drawley was raised under that, he never called himself an Indian. That's number one. Number two, Noble Drawley was invited to the Pan Am Union Conference. To be invited, that means someone there look at you as someone to have intelligence. International law, because that was doing international law, not domestic on the continent. International, all the nations meet there. When he went there, he claimed to people to be Moors unto the ancient nations that was conquered, which is like Moab, Israel, Egypt, Arabia. When he made that claim that these are Moors and that this is their land that was conveyed to their fathers and mothers long ago by the lords of the cosmos. And he spoke about the heaven. He went to the heavens now. He went to the cosmos, saying that the cosmos conveyed this land to their foremothers and forefathers. That's not a conveyance of somebody saying, oh, I like this land, I'm going to get it myself. That's not a conveyance. That's a Lodian title. Because the ones that roll back the water, the one that owned the land gave our ancestors and mothers, so they don't teach this a Lodian title because it belonged to us. So now we have a title to it through blood pedigree.
All right, let's once again, Mayat. This is Mayat. This is all right. United States Constitution. Mayat on one side. Well-settled principles. All right? Let's follow me. United States Constitution, well-settled principles. We, the people of the United States.
You get that up.
Right, so preamble. Where in the preamble that Moors are a party to this Constitution? Preamble. I said, United States Constitution, well-settled principles. Let's go to the end of the Constitution.
Here you go,
The
right
sig-
here.
the signature.
We the people of the United States.
Right, right. Well-settled principles.
We the people of the United States. To order to form a most perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic equality, provide to the common defense, promote the general welfare, secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our prosperity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
All right, so that's that. All right, so let's go to the signatory.
Okay,
section.
let me get to that.
All right, then based on well-settled principles. All right.
Here we go.
Now, well-settled principles
Here we go.
of treaties, 1600s, 1500s, 1300s, all right, and parties to treaties or contracts, so go back 1,000 years, you want to go back 500, 600 years of contracts or agreements, all right, they sign. People are parties to, they sign it, all right. So based on well-settled principles of contracts, treaties, conventions, multilateral treaties, parties to said treaties or conventions, they sign it. Where are our signatures? This based on well-settled principles. That's just because we got. See, whether Drew Ali said it or not, just use the scales of my yacht. Oh, I'm going to just use this example, y'all, that I'm giving you now. I'm teaching you how to study. All right? United States Constitution, well-settled principles. People, becoming parties sign the instruments. Where we sign at? We just giving you ways of how to analyze. Analyze. Just use this. Just use what I'm teaching you. Please, just use what I'm teaching you. Model what I'm doing. All right? Use your phone or go get a scale. Buy a scale. All right? I'm serious. Buy a scale and write somebody's claim and put the claim, on one side, like roll up in the paper, on one side. All right? And then put well-settled principles on another side. All right? Oh, well, there's about 600 years of contracts, treaties. People sign if they're parties to it. Well, if they're not party to it, they're not going to sign it.
That's right.
I'm just doing that because it's not that complicated. It's that we're not thinking along this line. That's all. That's all it is. We're just not thinking along this line. We've just been used to parodying. We don't use the scale. We don't measure it. We don't know what to measure it against. We're just used to somebody, Todd said, Abdullah said, Shem said, Kametayu said, Hakeem Bey said. That's what we do. Yes, Tamara, help me out.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop you from going. Keep going. Okay, question. Nathan Jacob. Let's clear some things up. Question. What is the oldest standing internationally recognized document recognizing land allodial ownership here on the North Gate? Hint. 400 shekels were paid for this land.
Where's that? Where do you get that from?
You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you, and I'm gonna tell you the truth. You're calling our people a complete idiot, and you're reading the treaties. Now I have read treaties, and I told Tamara in the 16th century. No. He just, to me, that's
Can you do me a favor? Can you read that again? I'm lost. I'm trying to measure against something. Principles. So read that again, please.
What is the oldest standing internationally recognized document recognizing land allodial ownership here on the North Gate. Hint, 400 shekels were paid for this land.
All right. Now, what instrument? Have him type in the contract.
The deed. That's the deed.
Yes,
That's
the
the
deed.
description.
All right, so in the deed, there's a description.
How now? Here's just let's form the hypothesis on this.
All right.
It's just simple. It's going to be very simple. Let's just go back to the first law of nature. Who owned the land?
The indigenous people, the Moors.
Okay, so which means the first custodian, right?
Yes.
I just said the cosmos that conveyed the land.
First maximum law.
Yes.
First in time. Right. So just go to that. So explain, how could one person or even a group of people sell off the birthright of the many?
Well, you have to, that's somebody just want, you got some people.
I'm not talking about what somebody.
That's a troll.
No, I'm not. It's not about being a
troll.
Yeah,
let's analyze this. Let's not
about
throw it
being a
off. Let's not throw it in the trash.
No,
Let's not throw it in the trash.
This is the argument because
throw it
this
in
is
the
what
trash.
you call reasoning.
Yes, let's reason. Let's
Now,
reason it out. Let's reason it out.
Let's reason this out.
That's right. Let's reason out. Let's use reason it out.
Jurisprudent mind.
Yeah, use it out.
That's dismissed as an error because there's not a body politic in this realm. There's not one person in this realm. There's not even a fake pope in this realm can give away 400 shekels for the whole North Gate, and you have all the descendants and perpetual to come. Get out of here.
Well, I just told you, some people come on as a troll and just make a statement.
No, Shem.
It's not about the troll.
Shem. No.
It's about the knowledge of knowing what's what.
Well, I just said in the earlier statement that Noble Drew Ali knew this principle and said it, that the land was conveyed by the cosmos to our ancient fathers and mothers. And that's proven their piety and our ancient deities. That is something that I'm making up. But what I'm saying is that if you're saying that the land was sold for that much, then what you will have to go back and prove that in ancient jurisprudence and positive.
But that's what, all right, Shem. This is what Tamara is leading us to reason to.
Right.
Because we don't want to throw any statement off as it. All right, let's say it's a troll. Let's take the troll and reason it. We got to teach the people how to reason. It doesn't matter what the statement is. Bring them on. Bring them on. We're going to use the scales of my art for every question that's thrown at us. Whatever question. Because if we throw it off as it's a troll, we're not teaching the people how to reason. We got to, in providing information, we got to fold here. It's teach them how to study and how to reason. I think that is more so than information we're putting up on this board. Any information that we presented, teaching you how to think is more valuable than anything that came out of his mouth tonight.
Yep, that's right.
Because then you know how you got to know how to reason. Because then you have the reasoning skills to measure what he's saying against my God.
Well, let me answer this
That's the key, teaching how to think.
Well, based on what I said earlier, and I made it clear, that the Band Associate Indians sign their signature on treaties. Do that bound or more? No. So when you say they were sold for that many shekels, you have to prove who was the person that sold it, what delegation authority they had.
There we go. That's
for
what
the
I'm
ruling
talking
body.
about. Now you're
then
doing
you got to
it.
prove what
Now
were their stats.
Now
so when somebody talk like that, they're not thinking. You can't talk that and throw me off, because I know when it comes to, I just talked about it earlier in contract. If associated band don't have authority, I go back to biblical law, the concubine children cannot sign off the land of the lowly heirs. So can't nobody convey the land for that many shackles because no one person is delegated or a tribe is delegated that authority to do anything like that. Next question.
All right.
Exactly.
That's
So
what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
That's what we're talking about.
So, okay, now you have novice, such as myself, because I'm not where you guys are at, and you have a bunch of novice that are trying to learn and understand.
True.
They're trying to learn and understand this whole process. Now, someone could say that and take a person off the mark, and then they'll go searching for something that's not there.
Absolutely.
They'll go searching for, let me go search for where this 400 shekels was provided and given. But would negate the fact that the point of that could never happen. It could never occur. Because okay, let's look at contract within itself. Let's look at contract within itself. How could you contract what you don't own?
Absolutely. It's like you have 14 kids and you turn around, 2 of your kids and sold the whole damn land. Children sold 100 acres. Now, that's a de facto purchase itself.
Okay, now let's talk about.
That's what you're saying.
Let's talk about what's his name? The case.
Are you talking about Isaac, the Switzerland case?
Oh yeah, Hausenstein versus Lindham.
Exactly.
That's right.
How could they sell something that they didn't own?
Absolutely. That's a good case because you know why?
How can somebody sell the North Gate? You don't own it. When no man owns land, air, water, earth.
That's right.
How you gonna sell it off to somebody for a measly 400 shekels? Calculate that. What is the measurement of that? What's the measurement of 400 shekels?
Good question.
Come on, now stop. We got to stop playing.
Well, see, this is what Abdul said, critical thinking. See, you got to understand.
Critical thinking.
Man, I'm glad that Cho did what he did tonight.
I am too. I love
That's
it.
what I'm saying. We need that.
See, when a man come to me and say,
"Oh man,
we ain't got no damn land. They went ahead of Moors and everybody sold the land off and this and that, and they did this and that." Now watch this. And I say, by what authority? Oh man, that was the emperor. They was control. The days did it. You missed what I'm saying. I'm going to go back.
That doesn't answer the question.
I'm going to go back and ask you, where did they derive the authority to sell something that they did not give?
But when you don't speak up to it and you continue to acquiesce to it, it continue to be in the holder of the possessor, and that's what must stop.
That's true.
Well, I got land now.
Exactly.
If you read the treaty of 1778, and you read the Moorish treaty, the treaty 1778 speaks about the United States dying in our territory, and what happens with their goods. Now, 1770. Now we go to 1786. The other treaties say if the Moorish died without a will.
It sure do.
Now, I like the 1778 make it clear that it must go into the hands of a Dey, Bey, council, or sheik. But if there is no Moorish government and the people are mental retarded, under mind control, and don't know who they are, they got a form of mental amnesia, then they can't possess the Moorish government. They can't sit in the office seats as the Moorish officials and subjects. Therefore, the state will go and probate, and therefore no council, sheik, or Dey can come and claim it or more subject. Therefore, the only guardian can go into the hands of a council was the United States government. That's what happened. And to keep it, they came up with a plan in the colleges, I call it laboratories, because they capture the minds of men and women. They came up with a diabolical plan to teach the people reverse thinking. Think backwards. That means you don't know who you are. You hear me? Yes. Yes. Now, when that happens, they hand it down to their children. That's what happened. So the woman, not knowing toward her inheritance, that when she take her body to break her water and have her baby, that's her merchandise. She's making a voyage somewhere to dock her merchandise, drop her load. When she go on a foreign vessel without a sign, that means there's no sign. She's not protected under international law because she's going on a vessel, a foreign vessel, and she don't have a passport, who she are. So there's identity loss, so they can assume she's a capture at sea. That's what they're doing. Amity law. I know what's going on. So we talk about that.
It's amity law.
That's what they're doing.
That's
capture at sea. Then
that's in the treaties.
To hide it, they turn around and let your mother name, whatever name she is, because she's going to get a baby, a name of the one of these English or French, Dutch, Sweden, Italian, Persia, Scotland, one of these names, family names, or one of the trade names they use for the commerce. When she do that, one thing happens: the baby is still protected under international law based on the name, because the vessel is still a Moor by blood pedigree. By title of operation of contract, it got a European name, but it's still protected because it's blood pedigree. I mean, you can take a diamond and put it in the hands of a thief, and they can go around and give all kind of estimates on that diamond. After it's all over, that's still a diamond. No matter who hands we wind up in, we still a Moor. And you can always rise up and assert that authority that you're Moor and protected by the treaties. So this is why the education system indoctrinated us, so we won't know who we are, so we can't go to the rest of the nations. So Noble Drew Ali knew this. That's why I say y'all can't tell me that this man tell you to go to the Constitution, because this man knew that your nationality, that you, in order to claim your state, you have to have your national blood. But Noble Drew Ali knew this. Now Noble Drew Ali will tell you to go to a de facto government that taught you that you was black, Afro-American, colored. He gonna tell you, go back to them and enforce and listen to the word, enforce their constitution. I want y'all to, he said, how you gonna enforce it? And you're not part of this, that society. Critical thinking, like Abdul say, Professor Abdul, critical thinking. I'm gonna ask you a question. How you gonna force the United States Constitution? How you gonna force it? Sis, how you gonna force the United States Constitution? Are you a part of that society? Was your father and mother part of the society and signed it? Can you force it? Can you force it? Why? Critical thinking, why? Okay. T, you got something to say?
Yes. We, the people of the states.
There you go. That's it. Like Abdul say, you'll hear the word American when they become American. That's connotatively. So you see what's happening. The Indian changing these words to still your Moorish blood pedigree. Now you hear the president say, we got to protect the American people. That means that he realized he was taught that they lost the jurisdiction in Morocco Empire. And now they don't have any protection but to the British Council. So being that they're operating in the Moorish territory, coming in and out of our ports, they don't have any protection. So they had to say they are Americans. And sometimes the crown refers them as Americans. So they get into treaty with them and say, well, they say the American, where's the Moorish government contesting that? Ain't nobody talking against it. Where's the government body the Moors? Where the government body the Moors at? And the Moors didn't say nothing. So if somebody's not there and they reading a will, they say, okay, it's 21 children. Ooh, he's way wealthy. The emperor, his children, and they reading the will. And then they're like this. Remember, they're always babies. He go to council and talk about, well, we have a problem. What do you mean? Sidebar. The people of special need, which means all the infant children have became retarded. They don't know who they are. They got amnesia. Oh my God. Okay, we're gonna just put this in probate, put a guardian over it until they get mature, come out that state. So they created through the education system. That's right. Yeah. Go, sis, you got a question?
question out here. It's been brewing. There's a question, and I know it's just a historical question. You
Oh, bring it, please bring it on.
Who gave this? Let me clear something up about the troll question. The reason a troll question come up, all questions are good questions, even if
Absolutely.
it come from a troll,
Absolutely.
because there must be clarity addressed on this platform.
Absolutely.
I don't have a problem with
It's
it.
not it's not going to be a presumption that everyone on this platform know. This platform is broadcast out all over. So even if someone picked this up that does not understand
Right.
nationality birthright, even the era of a troll, you can learn from that.
Absolutely.
So that's why the question was brought up. Now, next question. Who gave the Six Nations authority over all other nations to even allow them here? That's just a history lesson.
Who gave 6
You gotta
nations?
answer that.
Yeah.
What 6 nations are you talking about?
The Iroquois.
Iroquois, because it's the 6.
First of all, they say 6, but the 6 was combined of more than dumb nations. But
It was actually the Haudenosaunee was their tribal name. Haudenosaunee tribe.
Right.
Iroquois is
Right.
the more time.
Right.
Okay, so someone said, who gave the Six Nations authority over all other nations to even allow them here? So I guess them would be the I'm just gonna fill in the blank for them. When they
crowns?
say them would be the chartered licensed colonizers to be here. So I'm just gonna fill in the blank for them with the them here.
Right.
Okay,
That's fair.
so let me, in order to answer that, let me go back so you can understand what's going on. Because when you start talking about where power come from the power to enforce inherit and the power to enforce statutes and codes and regulations and policies on the land is given to the people through their mother and father. That means their mother and father has a survey of the land based on the ancient mothers and fathers. Now, they derive that inherent right through their blood lineage. Inheritance. Look up inheritance. Now, they have power at their will. Because the people, as long as the executive power, as long as the seer, because there were some things that could be done that the seer say that the people don't have power, and I agree with that. Nobody ever has power to convey land that was given by the cosmos. That's one thing I love what Noble Drew Ali say. These lands conveyed it to them. He even spoke about the pharaohs, about they asked the pharaohs permission. See, he went back to positive jurisprudence. That's true. A lot of nations want to go and travel to the other side. To do that, you have to go to another emperor, was Pharaoh. To go to another side, to go to war and say, I want to claim this land domicile, or go to war because these people is a waste on the land, or they was guided by the seer. The seer say, travel and go. I was told to go and take this land because these people were considered by the cosmos as being unworthy based on the festival ceremonies and customs that they are doing with the land. Now, they will go ahead and take the land, not because they did it by themselves, because it was conveyed by the cosmos. When a conveyance is done like that, you can't give it away. You can't sell it. You can't sell it. Can't give it away. So what derives of somebody do authority to do that is to inheritance power, handed down, lineage, birthright to the mother, handed down. The right to survey their land, the right to say who stay here, the right to say who leave, the right to say, okay, you want to use this section of land, I want $100 million for it, and you give it to them in gold. That's their right. Now, a Lothian title means blood title. That means it's a title through inheritance. It's not a title through purchase. There's a difference between that.
Joy.
Well, we know.
No.
So he does this.
Don't do
I
that.
got it.
Say it again.
Joy.
All right, put Joy on.
Put it on there. But let me get back to what I was saying.
You're saying it. You got Joy.
Right. You got blood pedigree.
You got Joy.
And that's right. And you can't
Right.
do that if it's not blood pedigree. That's why the Lancaster Treaty, what happened? The Iroquois came right back down and told the crowns, you cannot hold this land as a Lothian. Everybody look at the Lancaster Treaty, you read it. Read that treaty, you need to read it. Talks about territory, latitude, longitude, ownership of land.
All right, break that down.
Go ahead, Abdul. Go to work, Professor.
Now, you see, if you look at the etymology of the word right, and the etymology of the word right means straight. It's a survey word, all right? And Hekapata, what they transliterated to Egypt, the rope stretchers using the 3-4-5 triangle. 3-4-5, 3 square plus 4 square equals 5 square. That's 9 plus 16 equals 25. And so there was a survey, you know, so you have 3 knots, 4 knots, 5 knots. Altitude, base, hypotenuse. So the word right in various languages. Now going to the French. This is a French word, right? Droit. Because I have to start you off with hekapata and survey. All right. They're surveying the land, and you're going back to the helical rising of Sirius, surveying their land because the flooding of the Nile River will wash away the survey lines, you know, and they had to be resurveyed when that occurred. All right, so this is well settled jurisprudence of droit and droit. All right, and looking at land, because the word right, today people use the word right, you know, in a connotative way. All right, but I'm giving you the etymology in this practice way of surveying boundaries. All right, so right and jurisdiction are related. All right, because it means straight. All right, you draw it so you have your straight lines, your perpendicular, right? Because you're surveying, you're creating boundaries. So this droit and droit, you're dealing with well-settled principles of surveying your land and creating boundaries on the land through surveying. All right. So this is a French word tying to that. Did I provide some clarity there? I know this is not taught in law school the way I broke it down. Any other questions?
With the policy enforcers taking an oath to the Constitution, can you contract with? How would you contract with the treaties that way? Can they be congruently?
Ask the question again.
With the policy enforcers taking an oath to the Constitution, how would you could you congruently contract and enforce your treaties?
Yes. Now I want to respond.
Good. First of all, nobody can honor anything they have any knowledge of it. I mean, they're not taught. That's as simple as that is. In other words, now under the Constitution that they're operating under is a de facto corporation. It does not. They don't have an oath to obey. Like you see, the police in Delaware, they say they have obey the Delaware Constitution. That's generic. That's just general. So that can be used broad. Now, when you say to obey the de jure Constitution of the state of Delaware, you're talking about in its original form when it was first signed, under the charter. Let me say what I'm talking about. When you say this Delaware, You're talking about a British colony. So when you say the law going forth, they got an oath to obey the Constitution of Delaware. The Constitution of Delaware is the charter of the crown. That's the first charter. Which one you talking about? He took an oath. He took an oath. That's a corporate. Now, that's been changed probably 14 times. Amended, changed, revised. Now it's de facto. So he said, I took an oath to obey the Constitution of Delaware. Which one? See, I say something.
Good questions. Good questions.
Which one? So you're looking at him. Now look at how he's dressed and look at what he's wearing on his shirt for authority. We got fridges. All these corporate governments, you go inside these buildings everywhere, in the city council, you see a flag with the yellow fringe. That is the Admiralty flag. That means they're operating under private contracts and just the exclusive jurisdiction of the District of Columbia. So when you ask a question, say, how can you get a code enforcement officer to enforce the Constitution? You can't get him to do that. You don't get him to enforce the Constitution. If you train and taught in law, what you're supposed to say is you're supposed to enforce the treaty. You're supposed to say, excuse me, can you contact the council and a sheik? Because my country is a prince that's in alliance with the United States to a treaty. And I was taught that if there's a conflict happening between us, you have to call the council or sheik. You know why we can't do that? Because we don't have structure. Like Professor Abdul say, it comes back to structure. Now,
We getting here.
We
got
don't
this
have
built in.
structure,
We
and
get there. We get
you
there.
know about
We get there.
jurisprudence, and you say, well, my empire, my government signed a treaty with Great Britain, which is the crown over the United States. And you're operating in her mastery or his majesty dominion, also in my country too. I'm not going to argue with you, so I'm going to ask you to call the British Council. Now I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. Even if you don't have a government, but because you stand an individual and claim to be a Moor, the council will have to create a remedy. He have to create a remedy and system to protect your rights under that treaty. Man, you think they're going to do that? You see a lot of people say, bullshit, they think they're going to do that? Man, go and jump in the goddamn in front of an Amtrak train, because you in the way, man.
Let me say this, though.
I'm giving you some good
advice. We got to teach it, though. We have to teach it and continue to build structure.
You could change the world in this without having the most government. Just by evoking what's inside of you. The contract Yeah, can they hear me? I'm back on. What that mean? Can you hear me? Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Testing. Testing. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Testing. Testing. Testing 1 2 3. Testing. But they can't hear me? That's a breakdown in audio, right? Testing. Testing. Are they getting it? Working? They can hear it? I'm good?
All right.
Okay, I'm going to pick up. We had a question in here.
I want you to repeat it. Can you just go back over?
I just want to say we had a question here from a young lady. That was a very important question. She asked. You want to ask it again?
Ask it again.
Ask it again because we back on.
She want to ask the question again.
Yes.
You got to just do this over.
As far as contract, the Palestinian forces take an oath on the United States Constitution of North America. And how would you conjunct with that with the treaties?
Okay, let me say something. You made a statement, and I'm going to say this right here. No, they haven't took an oath.
Hold on, babe. You changed the question.
Revolutionary. What you're talking about is what we taught, what universities do teach. We're teaching. Nobody talking about blowing a gun, shoot nobody. We're talking about building our people up to take care of themselves. Well, we go back to she asked a question. Well, they're not obligated. Once you assume your take now, you're deceiving yourself to believe that you're going to get stopped by. See, we don't most of us look at, because we see people like melanated, like us police officers and police force or representatives. Who are they representing? What authority do they have? They don't have no authority. They can lock them up and throw them out the government anytime they feel like it. That's not their government. It's a de facto corporation. The United States Supreme Court You need to read that case. Made a decision on, you read it, de facto and de jure. And it said, and all the Moors must understand, a de facto corporation or government has absolutely no authority. They're illegitimate without authority. The only way they assert authority is by you acknowledging them as a ruling power. That's to be you deceive. So when you say, excuse me, you de facto. What? I can't contract. So this is why I tell Moore, stop talking. You don't. So I don't answer questions. Leave it like. Don't get anxious. No, I don't answer questions. I'm sorry, I don't answer questions. Let them talk. Be like this. Be like, act like you slow. You don't answer questions. I'm serious. I just had this about almost 3 weeks ago. And a man standing trying to intimidate me. Who car is this? Who truck is this? Why he letting you drive? I just told you I don't answer questions. Then he's sitting there standing there. Then his partner says something. I said, well, where you live at? Where your mother live at? Where you live at? Your wife. He looked, he smiled, grinned. He was hurt. He turned red. I said, now see, you didn't like me asking you them questions. That's how I feel when you're prying in my personal business. I don't want to answer nothing. I don't obligate to answer nothing for you. Please give me the same honor and respect I gave you, you give me. And that was it. So we're being educated, not indoctrinated. And I know, I know the tracks, ships, and trades is going to come from our own people to pay flunkies. That's people like Professor Abdullah said, getting the Ivy League money. Now I'm going to show you the double standard hypocrisy of Corona. You're going to turn around and let the baseball, hockey, football, all this go and happen because the money the government put back in society, you're going to turn around and spend that anyway. So these are the people that hold interest. They're going to let them accumulate, come together. It's all right. Listen what's going on. I'm telling you what to do. Nigger, do it. That's just like they say. I'm telling you what to do, nigger, Negro, do it. Yo, we don't want you Negroes congregating because y'all might be talking too much. So they had to come with a plan to shut the system down. And that was to put the fear in the people because they know the people rely on what? The system. The Abdul says a structure and system. And what I'm saying is that without a structure, a political structure and defense of military, police, and an industry for your people to work, you're going to lose. You're going to lose. Because what happened, you're going to see a lot of your women and men on the street homeless, gave up. It's happening now. They becoming homeless, peeing on themselves. Woman walking around with 2 children, sleeping in a cardboard box with 2 babies. Taking the baby into the bathroom, watching the baby up in gas stations and convenience store bathrooms, and they living in the van because they can't, because time's so they're hiding this. You go down to San Francisco and California, the people living in the damn van. Got full-fledged jobs living in a trailer home. Man said driving a van, got his daughters, all them sleeping back there, and they living in that car. That we call it the van, the suburbians. They living in them. Because they took the houses and made the rent was so high that man, everybody can pay them $1,500 a month for an apartment. But you know what the Mexicans and them do? They're different than us. All the families they go into that one apartment and they chip in. Our people, I ain't got my privacy. I don't want to live around my brother. My brother get on my damn nerves. Oh, you can't. But your brother living out there in the street now. Your brother living out the street like a hobo, staying in somebody's house, and they charge him all his money to live in a car, go and lay a bed out, lay in the corner like he sleep. That's what's going on. Walk into a house now, one room, got 7 people sleeping in there, paying $500 a month, just to have somewhere to lay their head, wake up, eat at a table, and wash their behind. They're all laying asleep in bed. No, we're going to ladies, get you by the bed. That's your corner. That's your corner. They're going to do it because they got to live. But they're hiding all this. So that's why the treaty is ready. And the Moors that's conscious, they're going to sign. Y'all Moors is playing around. Hey, y'all don't have to sign. Hey, listen, it's no hard feelings. We'll be here for y'all too. Y'all going to need aid. But we're going to make sure we got it when you can't come in and compromise. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen when we do what we're doing. All the people that's selling drugs, all the gangbangers, they're going to sneak behind the closed doors and they're going to collapse all the food stamps. They're going to say, okay, you want your people, you told me you get a Moors, you got all the power, do this. Then we had to force the act of Algiers become a crisis, a national emergency, telling you are obligated the act of Algiers to come in here and take our central bank. That's why we need our own platform. Because we can take one municipality and put our people on it and to have an industry, and our people never be without food. What you mean? Well, I ain't gonna get on that ship right there. Take a voyage, go fishing, come back with all this fish, live. Take your babies with you, learn how to live, learn how to farm, settle down. There's enough food for you to eat. And some people caught up in socialism so bad they can't live in a civilized world like that because they ain't got no sports, no entertainment, no music, no sex going on, no beer, no reefer, no dope, no bad, evil energy. They can't live in a civilized territory. They can't take it. I can't do that, man. I can't live like that, man. I'm used to the city life, man. Man, ain't nothing going on, man. Damn, you ain't got no sports, ain't no movies. See, you just like a dope fiend, a crackhead or dust head, because you can't function. See the crackhead, the dust head, and the person that's on dope function. They are like that off of what? Drugs. You're like that off of your mental, your divinity. I mean, you've been distorted in your mind, and you came into the role of no different than a man that's shooting the dope, the dust head, or the crackhead. You know difference. So look out there, brothers, who that is, brother, before you open that door. Yes. So what we doing, brother, is we building. Yes, we building. And the thing is, Moors, we have to rely on treaty and our Constitution. You can't say that the Moors did not have a constitution. You got the Quran, superior to the United States Constitution. You got the Injil, which is called the New Testament. You got the Torah. You got the tablets of Sumerian. You got the ancient deity piety of Egypt. Go back and grab them and wreck your society, your nation. That's the supreme law of the land. Come on now. You got all this and you don't know what to do? The reason why the Bible, the King James don't have any force, because a person that's been turned out holding that book and he's got the door closed. He's not going to learn the secrets of it, so he's going to be a gatekeeper and stop you from learning the secrets of it because he don't know himself. That's locked in our DNA. That's been handed down to us, to our lineage, to know the mysteries and secrets of them books. And then right in front of your face, and you talk about you're going to force the Constitution, you calling yourself a Muslim, Christian, Jewish. You saying you this, and you talk about forcing the Constitution, you're a fraud. I'm talking about somebody conscious, not somebody to know. Those of y'all don't know, y'all not a fraud. Like, you're right. Gotta be careful what I say, because people that's not conscious think I'm attacking them. No, you're not a fraud. You're a fraud if you stepping up there talking about your eyes open, you know, oh, I'm this. Then the force, then use that's an authority. The people that follow the doctrine of Mohammedanism had authority over the Albions and did not let them tell them what to do when it became a thing of dispute or suits. Now, all of a sudden, y'all people claiming to be following the prophet or seer, and you are following a seer, and you talk about force the Constitution. That don't sound right. Don't sound right. The seer, wisdom and knowledge came before that. And you're not going to the seer book as the ruling authority to govern yourself and your people, and you talk about forcing something in that? Something wrong. Examine yourself. Take a look at yourself. Something wrong. I'm keeping it real. Using all this connotative stuff, it's a fraud. It's a fraud. Like I told Tamara and them, I said, do you know a blind woman was a blind woman seeing and through the cosmos? was able to see what me and the minister was going to be. Here's a woman, blind, knew her son died, and nobody even told her. Come out and say, oh, you passed through. You passed through. She's seen. Because in the cosmos, everything is open like present. And when you transition, you go right through. In order to know that, the eye had to be dealing with you, the cosmos dealing with you to see that. So then when you see it, you invoke it. You can see it. With a blind woman seeing to the cosmos and able to say, hey, who is this? And the voice, and tell you what your role gonna be. And then after telling you, everything start falling right in manifestation. That's how people, the eyes closed because they taken what this brother saying, the things that are our inheritance, and they turn it into a plague, like a disease, like it's bad, and then making us use it and wrong one.
Shem, you didn't finish this brief question.
I did.
You had to go back because
Let me finish in 7 minutes.
Just to repeat it.
They don't have a delegation of authority. They don't have an oath. They don't have an oath or delegation of authority. When you say, when somebody say they got an oath to hold the Constitution, and I say, take the paper that they put to have an oath on and read it and see the language in that oath. And if it say to obey and uphold the Constitution of the United States, how many constitutions of the United States? The Articles of Confederacy, the Jubilee, the Reconstructed Era, the War Powers Act, the one incorporated in Florida, the one incorporated in Puerto Rico. That's but 9 of them. Which one? So you see, making that statement don't mean nothing. Because it's not, the language doesn't say what's one. The one you took, they may take an oath, has absolutely got nothing to do with that charter. Right there, the original charter. They talk about a corporate constitution, was paying them money to pay their bills and stuff. So, in God we trust, and the evoke of what? The Congress, and the evoke of the parliament body. So when you start following parliament law, that's invoke. They're invoking and writing, and therefore they become what? They're invoking and writing. That's God to you. That's it right there, in front of your face. Don't sit there and tell me I worship, give thanks to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. He ain't got nothing to do with them. He ain't got nothing to do with them. He ain't got nothing to do with that Congress. He ain't got nothing to do with them, with the symbol of that government. Well, you got what you talk about his name for. He ain't got nothing to do with it. So they get a trickster out there, pay flunky, and he up there talking about it, and then bring the wrong curse on you. So remember, sister, what comes out of a person's mouth, examine. That's what Abdul talk about, critical thinking. That's why it's important you go back and look. Just sit back and look at that 1856 treaty. You will say, "Oh my goodness! Wait a minute! We've been bootlinked, had." Because even the Europeans, professors in colleges and universities are teaching that the United States is a British colony. You heard me? They researching, going back to the Jurisprudence, say you ain't nothing but a British colony. How they know? They go back to the 1783 treaty, 83 treaty, and they read that clause. You say that article in there, and that brings it right in, and it's inside the case, the Haven case.
Actually, before the Article 1, before Article 1, where the United States is actually, you said, in there, a British colony, still under Great Britain. Yep.
So you see what we're dealing with? You're dealing with a British colony.
Yeah, King George III. Yep.
Now, what do you do when you're in a British colony and you read the 1856 treaty and say, even talks about using a notary? That's why I said you can use a notary, because the Crown say, if a Moor use a notary, it's honor. Just like they can come and use our council seal. If they come to the Moorish government and say, hey, I need to get this seal, they can do that. Because that's the treaty, the contract. Any country by conquest or treaty, that's the United States of North America. Conquest and treaty. So they are under protection of the British Council. They not talking about it. The British Council and the ambassador tells the president of the United States what to do. Sorry, because they can push that button. When they have a problem, they go to the round table. She go to the Secrecy Council, which is all her blood pedigree. The princes, dukes, earls, counts, princes. They meet with them. Then they meet and do something. Then they go to who? The cardinal, who next to the Pope. Then they go to the Pope.
Yep.
Then the Pope said, what problem we got here? Well, the president claiming, making beef that, they're not part. He going to do this and that. Go down and give him a sleep or her sleeping pill. Get out of here. You got to leave the world now. They're not going to let you do that. That's why they made a 13th Amendment telling them they can't hold title nobility. You see all the amendments in the Constitution. You get to the 12th, you never see the 13th. Oh, another thing I want to bring up, sister. So when the Moors tell you, hey, excuse me, but I think you're wrong. Article 10 said all rights are reserved to the states. Break that down when it says all rights are reserved to the states. Please. Right. It doesn't say Moorish governments. That's an amendment. They add that on to the Constitution.
2 minutes.
All rights reserved to the states.
Well, we just go back to the preamble. Go back to the preamble of the United States Constitution and also the signatories of the United States Constitution. Right. Moors are not party to the United States Constitution.
That's right.
And it's that we're just learning about treaties and the power of treaties. That's all it is that we've been on this force the Constitution. They don't know treaties, that's all. They don't know how to enforce the treaties. We've been taught, Shem, force the Constitution. That's what we've been taught. They have not been taught treaties. That's where that's coming from. I want to thank you again. We have the contract law course coming up again. At the contract law course, September 19th, the flyer posted on United Republic of Morocco, Abdullah Bey Facebook page, Tamario's Facebook page, United House of Reawakening Minds Facebook page, and others. Share it. All right. Share the flyer. All right. Limited seating. All right. So we got the contract law course. You got a little tidbit on what's going to be taught. Trust law, it's going to be a part of that. So contract law course, September 19th. All right, get your tickets. All right. So that's it there. And the announcements I need to make. All right. Thank you again. All right, peace.
Thank you, Morris. Peace. Yeah.